Hi there, welcome to Jujubee DIY. I'm Sarah. Thanks so much for joining me today. Today I made 8 Valentine's Day themed DIYs that you can place on a tier tray like you see here, or anywhere you need a little extra decor in your home. These have a more traditional color scheme and are a little bit whimsical, but super country and farmhouse cute. So if you want to see how I made each one of these DIYs, stick around, hang out with me, and I will show you. Getting started with our first DIY, I'm going to use these little wood domino pieces from the Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to use a little sandpaper to get off any of that shiny surface. Then I will paint both sides with the Waverly chalk paint in white. Next, I'm going to create a template for each of these domino pieces. I'm just tracing it around on some heavy-duty cardstock. You could use just regular cardstock or even like packaging from a cereal box, whatever you want to use to help create your template. So I just trace that out, cut it out, and now I'm going to find the center using my ruler. And if you're wondering where this ruler comes from, it's just from Michael's in the drafting section or the drawing area. I love having this ruler. Those grids are super handy. So I found the center there, and I'm just going to punch out using this heart punch. This is a really old heart punch from EK Success. And then I have a little template, so then I can go and I can put the heart in the middle of each of these domino pieces. And then using my ruler, I'm just going to draw a line from corner to corner, skipping where the heart is. Using a fine detail brush and a little bit of watered down acrylic paint, I'm going to go over all of my pencil lines. And that just helps all those lines stand out on our little envelopes. Aren't these so cute? I know I've seen a lot of people doing little envelopes for their tier trays, and I just couldn't help but join in on all the fun. So this is my take on the little envelopes. So then once they're all filled in, I am going to fill in the hearts on each of them. Some of them will be pink, some will be gold, and some will be red. That's the color scheme that I'm using for today's DIYs. So taking this rub-on transfer sheet from the Dollar Tree, I pulled out some words that I thought would be fitting for Valentine's Day. So you can see I'm going to add heart here, and I'm just pressing that down with my finger to transfer the word. Using a small flat brush, I am just going to go around the edge of each of my envelopes, and I'm going to create a little checkerboard pattern. And I apologize for the very fuzzy picture here. I don't know what is going on with my phone camera, but it's doing some weird focusing stuff. So I'm going to try and get that ironed out, but it does get better here in just a minute. So I'm going to start off with red, and then I'll go in with pink, just kind of alternating those colors. And again, I did some that were red and pink, some that were red and gold, and some that were pink and gold. And you just want to be careful that you're not transferring paint to the opposite side. I did that too, and that turned out not so good, but you can always fix it with a little bit of white paint. So now I am going in with some black, just making some squiggle marks. And now I'm going to do some splattering with black and white on this side of my envelope. And I think that these turned out so cute. And here they are on a little tray, perfect for any Valentine's Day decor. All right, moving on to DIY number 2, I'm going to take these wood blocks from the Dollar Tree. They are just small wood blocks that they carry. If you can't find the wood blocks, the Dollar Tree also sells these little dice that are foam that you could paint and do the same project with. So I painted them all pink. I'm doing 2 of them, but I'm just going to show you one. And then I created some marks with a piece of chalk just so I can have a good idea of where I want to put my hearts for my little dice. I'm making some heart dice. I'm using this stencil from Martha Stewart for this portion of the project. I don't know, it was kind of time consuming to do the stencil. So I think there's some alternatives if you don't want to take quite as much time doing this project, but I do love how it turned out. So taking a makeup sponge and some red paint, I'm going to do the hearts. And as you can see, I have a little dice there, and I just used the dice to kind of guide me as to where I needed to place all of my dots so that each of my dice had the correct number and placement. So as you can see, it did bleed a little bit on some of those stencils, so I just went around the edge with a fine liner and cleaned them up. But alternatively, you could draw in some hearts using your stencil that you used before. You could cut out some hearts and Mod Podge them on, or you could just draw them yourself freehand, however you want to do it. Next, on all of my hearts, I'm going to go in with this Jelly Roll pen. These I get from Michael's, and I am just going to add in some little sketchy hearts in there in the white and black, and both of these pens are Jelly Roll pens. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to splatter all the sides of each of my dice. Then once the splatter marks were dry, I'm going to go in with a detail brush and my gold paint just to keep in with that color scheme, and I'm going to outline each of these hearts. And here is a look at how these turned out. I think these are just precious and perfect for a little tier tray. And Oreo is being nosy and had to get in on pictures too. Moving on to DIY number 3, we are taking one of these wood hearts. These are like shelf sitters that the Dollar Tree is selling. They're very solid. So I painted both sides white with the Waverly chalk paint, took off those stickers, of course, using my heat tool. And now I decided that I was gonna do like a buffalo check or like a plaid print kind of on this heart. It's been a hot minute since I've done that, so I was kind of feeling it. I'm gonna go in with this washi tape. I talked about this washi tape in another video, but it was just from a $5 grab bag. I got like, I don't know, 4 or 5 containers of this graduation washi tape, which is perfect for taping off your projects when you want to paint specialty lines. So I'm just going to find the center there, add some washi tape, add a spacer, add some washi tape, and we're going to keep doing that until we've got lines all the way across our heart. And then I will take my makeup sponge and the Cameo pink color from Apple Barrel. I just love this soft pink color, and I'm going to paint in all my lines. Then we're gonna go in the opposite direction and do the same thing. Now I know some of you, or probably most of you, know how to do this technique, but I know there probably are some newer crafters that don't know how to do a buffalo check. So that's why I'm leaving this little bit of a tutorial in here for those of you that maybe don't know how to do this. So we're just gonna tape it off, and then I'm gonna go in with that same color on my makeup sponge and just dab it in until I'm happy with the opaqueness of my paint. So it does take a couple of coats, but once that is dry, I am gonna go back over my original lines. So you can kind of see I didn't go in. The second bit of paint was a little bit lighter than the first. So you can definitely see where those lines are. And I'm just taping that off so that we have some spaces here that we will paint in a different color. So then I'm gonna go in with red and I'm gonna paint that all up. Now make sure that you let this dry. I was being a little hasty, and you'll see here in just a few minutes that I have a little bit of issue with my red. I didn't let it dry well enough. So taking some washi tape, I wanted to add black lines, straight black lines on each of like the areas where it was, you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So I just used washi tape to mark that off so that I could make straight lines. And as you can see, some of that red is pulling off. In the end, I am not angry about it. I think it looks very cute and just perfect for the style I was going for with these DIYs. But if that's not your jam, definitely let your paint dry well. So then I'm gonna go in and I am going to mark off the middle of the white and pink row and do some gold in there. So I did go in, I didn't show it, but I did go in and do the lines both horizontally and vertically with the black, as you can see, and then did a gold stripe in between, like in the very middle of that white and pink line, as you can see. I really hope that makes sense. I think you can probably see what I'm talking about. All right, enough yip-yapping about that. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments or email me and I'll get back to you. So now I'm going in with a fine liner. Again, I get these paintbrushes from Walmart. They are the Folk Art brand and they work pretty well for me. I am on the hunt for a little bit better quality fine liner, but I think that these work really good for the price. And I am just using a little bit of Apple Barrel Jet Black paint that I've watered down to make it a little more fluid and easier to paint in the word. Once I have the word on there, I'm gonna go in and just add some cute little dots on each of the letters. I have always loved this style of wording ever since I was little. I can remember seeing projects and going to craft fairs and stuff, and people have been doing this for a long time. And I just think it's a really cute style. It adds a lot of interest to each of the words. So I'm choosing to use that style here. So I wrote Forever Mine. You could definitely write whatever you want on your heart. You don't have to write anything at all if you don't want, but I thought Forever Mine was cute. And now I'm gonna go in with the splatter, keeping up with the theme that I'm going for with these projects today. I got a little heavy there with that white, but that's okay. And here is a look at how it turned out. I think that this is a really super cute and I really love it. If you're new to my channel, I'm Sarah. I like to do farmhouse, country, whimsical decor on a budget. I really love to do seasonal decor too. So if that sounds like something that you would like to see more of, definitely hit that subscribe button down below. Make sure you like this video today and leave me a comment. It just helps YouTube to push out my video so more people can see my content. And if you want to follow me on social media, you can find me over on Instagram or on Facebook with a group that I host with my friend Lisa. Anybody's welcome. Come join us and share your projects. All right, guys, we're on DIY number 4. I am going to take one of these 3D trucks that I got from the Dollar Tree a while back. If you don't have one of these in your stash, there are different trucks that you can get from the Dollar Tree. And you could just put a little stand on the back of it, create your own little area for your balloons. So there are some alternatives. Just kind of think outside the box. I had grabbed quite like 4 or 5 of these trucks when I saw them because I knew that I was going to want to use them throughout the year. So first of all, I just used that cap and created my wheels using my pencil. And then I'm going to go in and just paint those in with the Apple Barrel paint. I'm just using pretty much Apple Barrel paint today, which I will leave in my description box down below with all the colors. So I did the wheels, of course, black, and now I'm going to go in with red. I figured, why not have a little red truck for Valentine's Day? So I'm just going to go in with the Apple Barrel bright red, and I'm going to paint my whole truck. And I do go in and do a little bit of shading. I was using some floating medium, which I'm not quite comfortable sharing with you guys yet. I need to practice that technique up a little bit, but it was kind of fun to add a little bit of shading. you could just do that with a little bit of watered down paint as well. So you see those little hearts there, those came from the Dollar Tree. I'm gonna do I need 6 of them because I need a front and the back, and then one big one. So 6 little ones, 2 big ones, and I painted 1 set of the little ones red, 1 set pink, 1 set gold, and then that big heart I did in pink. So, but you definitely choose the colors that fit your decor or your style or your theme, whatever you like to do. So I'm gonna go in with that jelly roll pen that I mentioned earlier, and I'm just gonna add some little highlights. I am not sold on the jelly roll pens as far as a good alternative to like paint. I'm going to get a few fine line paint pens, I think, and try out to see if I find something that I like better. But these work for now. They are a little finicky sometimes to get the ink flowing on the painted surfaces. So if you're having troubles, just take your time and you'll get it, or just use a fine liner and paint. I just was not having much luck with the fine liner and paint that day, so that's why I was using the jelly roll pens. So I have this wire in my stash. It is pretty much the same size as the floral wire that you can get from the Dollar Tree. And I think that pretty much any jewelry section at like Michael's or Joann's, Hobby Lobby, carry this fine wire. I had just cut 4 pieces for the smaller hearts and I twist them together. And then for this big heart, that's like 8 strands. And I'm just going to hot glue them in between those hearts. That's why I needed 2. So I knew I was going to sandwich those, that wire in between those hearts. So I needed to add, or I didn't need to, but I wanted to add a little bit of something on each of my balloons. So I added XOXO on the big heart, and then I wrote in kiss on this little red one, and then hug me on the not silver, gold, and then just drew some little hearts on this one. So these are little balloons, and then I'm going to go around each of the hearts and add some little black squiggle lines just for some added interest and cuteness here. And I'll go in with the white too. So little black and white squiggles around each of them. All right, again, keeping in with this theme of the splatters, I am going to go ahead and splatter these with the black and white. If the splatters are not like what you like, definitely pick and choose the things that work for you and your decor and what you like. You can change up anything. My tutorials are for inspiration, so make it your own, do what you want. If you don't like something I do, change it up, make it how you like it. So I wanted to add a base for my truck bed. So I just took one of those like jumbo popsicle sticks and cut it down, glued it in, and now I'm gonna add a little bit of floral foam here. And then I was looking at it, I'm like, oh, it needs ends because it was not pretty. So I'm just gonna cut a little bit more of that popsicle stick, and I'm just gonna glue it on each side of the floral foam just to help kind of hide that floral foam so that if you're looking at it from the front or the back, you don't notice it as much. And then I'll paint everything that you see that's not painted black. So I go in and I paint the back and everything. And I do end up going in and painting that floral foam black too. But for the time being, it is just green. So I am going to add in my little balloons here. And I just kind of was wrapping that wire around something round. So that was just a pen and a X-Acto knife, just whatever you find. And you can just kind of make them however you want. I love this wire for that purpose because you can kind of bend it, but it's, you know, it's nice. So you can make them look like floating balloons. And my suggestion is to leave this part until the very end. Don't put your balloons in quite yet. So I do this when I'm crafting. I'm like, ooh, it needs something else. So I got into my stuff and I found these little picks from the Dollar Tree. They're on long skewers, but I just cut them down and they were the perfect color. So I just splattered them with some black paint and I just cut them down to size. So then I was trying to think about how I wanted to cover up that floral foam, but I didn't know what I wanted to add. So I ended up with the reindeer moss and I think it turned out pretty cute. I don't know, what would you guys add into the back of this instead of the moss? Kind of thought about glitter and then I was like, no, what am I thinking? No, not doing glitter. So the moss was a better alternative to glitter at that point. So I'm just gonna add these little hearts around the bed of my truck, just kind of on the inside there. And this is how it turns out. I think that this is so cute. I just adore it. We are moving on. Okay, so DIY number 5. I think this is 5. Anyhow, I'm gonna take one of these square boxes. This is from the dollar section at Michael's. And I'm gonna paint it white. Easy peasy. Next, I'm gonna take this paintbrush. This is actually from the Dollar Tree. Their little paintbrushes are not bad. So if you are looking to like kind of get started in painting a little bit, check out their paintbrushes. They're not bad at all. And they're, I mean, I've had this one for quite a while and use it pretty often and it still has held up nicely. So I am going in and doing some black squares, basically. I just kind of wanted to make that checkerboard pattern. And as you can see, some areas I needed to add some little thinner ones, but I was okay with that because in my mind, this is just kind of a whimsical piece. And if they're not all the same size, that's cool, at least with me. So I've got more of these little wood hearts from the Dollar Tree. I'm just loving these. I did paint each of them. So the red, I did go ahead and go over the red one with my apple barrel red paint, and then the pink in the package, it's pretty hot pink color. So I definitely toned that down with that cameo pink from apple barrel, and then painted the plain wood heart gold. So you saw there, I added some polka dots with my stylus on each of 3 of the hearts. And now I'm gonna add some little stripes on 3 of them. I did use my ruler and a pencil to mark out these lines. So I'm not freehanding this, so to speak, because I tried to freehand it and it was a hot mess. And you'll see in a few minutes my mistake, but it's okay. And so then 3 of them will be plain. So 3 of them have polka dots, 3 have stripes, and 3 are plain. Next, I'm gonna go in with that jelly roll pen in the black, and I am going to add some little squiggle marks. And of course, we're going in with that splatter. And I just did the black splatter on the hearts, but I did go in and do black and white on my box. So I took some of this foam tape. I get this at the Dollar Tree, but you can get this at any craft store. And I just cut it down, layered it up twice, and I'm gonna put that on the back of each of the hearts. This is just gonna give a little bit of dimension to the hearts and make it look a little more high end. So I do add a little bit of hot glue, even though it's a sticky tape. Over time, that sticky tape will come loose. So you definitely want to add some hot glue if you're going to go in with it on something like wood. So I'm just going to add those in. I'm going to start with that red heart in the center, and then I will just kind of line everything up from there. And here they are all put together. Make sure you get your hearts going the right way. If you were planning on hanging this up, this is just going on a tier tray for me, so it was not a big deal. But here is a look at how these turned out. I think that this is adorable as well. For this DIY, I am taking a little mini clipboard. I got this from a store locally called Craft Warehouse, but I think that you can probably get these just about anywhere. I know the Dollar Tree sells some little mini clipboards. You might have to take the paper and stuff off, but no biggie. I just gave it a coat of the black paint from Apple Barrel, and now I'm going to go in with my Crackle Medium. I'd used this in my plaid collaboration, but I didn't really show you guys me using it for some reason. I think I lost the video footage actually, so I thought that this would be a good opportunity to show you that how thick I was putting it on, basically. So if you want big cracks and crackle, then you want to make sure that you're using thick coats of not only the Crackle Medium, but also your top layer of paint. So you add that Crackle Medium, let it dry thoroughly on its own. Do not use a heat tool or anything to try and speed up the process. It will take a few hours for it to dry, but it is definitely worth it to let it dry on its own. Then you're just going to add your paint on top. It's best if you use like a dark, like contrasting colors with your crackle. So, you know, if you're going to use a light color on the top, then use a darker color on the bottom, and that just helps that crackle show through a little bit more. But as you can see, it starts crackling immediately. You just let that dry and it'll just crackle up nicely. So taking 2 of the hearts from the Dollar Tree, I bought a couple of packages of these. I just loved them. I am going to go in and put some polka dots on that red heart, painted that wood heart gold, and then I'm just going to layer them up and add them to my little clipboard here. Next, I wanted this to be able to stand on its own, and so I'm just going to add a little Jenga block or like a tumbling tower block from the Dollar Tree on the back. And that completes this project. I think this is so cute. I love the polka dots. I'm a polka dot girl. I just can't help it. I love them. All right, another Crackle project for you. I picked up this 4x4 mini canvas from Michaels. I gave it a coat of the Apple Barrel black paint and a coat of the Crackle, letting both layers dry well in between. And now I'm just gonna add some white acrylic paint right over the top. Just be careful you don't go over your surface too many times or it will start kind of to smear, so just be mindful of that. Next, I'm going to take these wood ornaments from the Dollar Tree and I'm just going to fill that hole up with a little bit of hot glue. I just press the ornament down against my silicone mat and fill that hole up with some hot glue. And this side will be the back side, but the front side is perfectly flat. And I just add a little Mod Podge over where the glue is so that the paint will stick to it better. Now I'm just gonna layer in these hearts. So I painted the plain wood heart gold, and then as you can see, the red heart is red and the big heart I painted pink. So then I wrote what I wanted to put on my heart in pencil, and now I'm going over it with a fine liner. And you guys, I was really struggling with how I wanted to add my words onto my projects. I do love to hand letter my own pieces. You could definitely use vinyl here. And this fine liner worked well. I think any fine liner would be just fine. This is a Statler fine liner. I got a package of them off of Amazon. You can pick them up at any craft store though. But I don't know that this is a perfect alternative or a perfect solution to being able to write fine letters. So that's kind of where I'm like with these projects, because they are smaller. I needed those words to be fine. I wasn't having much success with my fine detailed brushes and paint. So I tried the Jelly Roll pens and then the fine liner. The fine liner was fine, but then when I went over it with my sealer, it did smear. So I'm on the hunt for a good alternative. So if you know of anything, let me know in the description box down below. I'm thinking about ordering some Posca pens to see if maybe those will work better. Anyhow, so I wanted to add a little dimension to my hearts. So I just mixed some of that brown folk art paint, I think it's called Honeycomb, with my Cameo pink, just to kind of deepen it up a little bit. I went around the edges of my heart, and now I'm just kind of going around the edges of my canvas in that same color. I just wanted to add a little bit more here, make it look a little grungy, I guess, or distressed more. I don't know. I just thought it was cute, so that's what I did. And then I'm just gonna glue my little heart right onto my canvas, and I think this is really cute. But as you can see, my words did smear a little bit, but again, it was just kind of grungy feeling anyways, so I was okay with it. Moving on to our last DIY of the day, I am taking one of these little mugs, cocoa mugs, I guess they probably are. These were at the Dollar Tree in the fall, I believe. So I grabbed a package of them knowing that I wanted to use them in different seasons. Again, I thought these would be cute, not only in the fall, but at Christmas and, you know, in the cooler months of the year as well. So I did grab a package of them, and I've used them a couple different times. But basically what I'm doing here is just creating where the edge of the cup is. So I'm just kind of going in with a very swoopy kind of curved shape, and then I'm going to go in and kind of figure out where I want my whipped cream to go. So I'm just going in with a flat paintbrush here, and I'm going to paint that top section white, and then I will paint my mug pink with that Cameo pink color. And again, I was working on trying to do some floating medium. I am not good at that yet, so I'm not going to show you what I did, but I did go around the edges and deepen them up a little bit with a little darker of a color. So I wanted to put some splatters on this as well, but I didn't want it to go on my whipped cream necessarily, and I wanted the center to be kind of free from splatter marks. So I just covered up the areas that I didn't want to get splatter marks on with some paper towel. That was easy. And now I'm gonna go in around the edges and add some little squiggles. I really love this style. To me, it is more kind of artistic and free, and that is just kind of my style, if we're being honest. And I just love how this looks. So of course, we're gonna go cheesy here, guys. I love you a latte is what I wrote on the front of my cup. And now I'm gonna go in with the gold, pink, and red and add some little sprinkles. And I don't know where the footage went of me doing the words, but you get the idea. You've seen me do it in this video already. So I'm just gonna leave it as is. So I'm gonna take this little tag. I got this at Walmart. It is a plaid product, and I am just going to paint it up. So I'm painting this very top section gold, and then I will go around the very outside edge and paint that all black. And I love this gold color. It's so pretty. It is the brushed gold from Faux, I believe. I'll leave it in the description box. Then I'm gonna take that flat paintbrush and go around the edges with some white to create that checkerboard, and of course, splatters. Paint up a Jenga block here. I just did the outside edges because this is gonna be like a dimensional piece, so to speak. It's just gonna add dimension between the tag and my little mug here. So I didn't paint all the sides. I just painted the sides that might show if somebody was looking at it from a certain direction. And then I'm gonna put that, just gonna glue that down. But actually, I decided to go ahead and paint the back of my mug black before I added it to the tag, because again, if somebody saw it from the back, they would see that it was not painted, and I thought it would be better if it was black. It would just kind of melt into the background, I guess. It would just not be as noticeable. So I'm just gonna glue that right on, just like so. A little bit of an angle, and super cute, and just the right amount of cheese or cheesiness. Okay, so this I wanted to stand up as well. So I'm gonna add a Jenga block to the back for a little stand. And I do end up taking the sticker off and painting that whole backside black as well. Next, I'm going to take this little red and white polka dot ribbon. I think I got this from Michael's, like, I don't know, a couple years ago, but I think they probably still have something similar. You might be able to find it at Walmart. I think, you know, red and white polka dot patterned ribbon is probably not too hard to find, but I just made a cute little bow, and I'm just going to add that right to the top of my tag. I did go in and try to do some, like, you know, like tag or like ribbons coming out of the tag hole, but I really didn't like how that was looking. So that's why I went in with just a bow on top. And I was like my brain was not working right. It had been a long day, and I couldn't figure out how I needed to cut my ribbon. I was like struggling with that. So yeah, I just left that in there to show, yeah, I struggle too sometimes. And here's how this turned out. Adorable. And here's a final look at everything styled on my tier tray. I love how this year's tier tray turned out. I just think all the colors work super well together. So I had to add this in. This is a little sequence event. You can see Oreo looking at that flower. Then you can see her little paw coming in, and then finally she grabs that flower. She would not leave me alone while I was trying to take pictures of my projects, but that's okay. We love her. So that is all I have for you today. As always, leave me a comment down below. Let me know which project was your favorite. And I hope you guys have a happy, healthy, and blessed day. And I will see you this coming Friday for 4th Friday. Have a great day. Bye.